Hey, Gary. Hey, Chris. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to our March 28th meeting. All right. First thing on the agenda is motion to approve February's minutes. Thank you, Chris.
I'll make the motion.
All right, I'll second. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Gary, okay. I was like, Gary, can you hear us? All right. And then the bills for this month. A motion, well, Stacy, I'll let you go ahead and read the vouchers.
So, yeah, it's voucher number 26 through 46. And the grand total is $28,021.84. 28,021.84.
I'll make the motion to approve vouchers 26 through 46 for a total of 28,021.84.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, and then Gary, do you have any updates or budget items that you want to discuss before we pass the torch to Chris?
No.
Okay. All right, Chris, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, can I share my screen?
Oh, I always forget that. One of these days. All right, I just made you a co-host.
Oh, I feel so important. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all about you.
Okay,
Got it?
here we
Okay,
go. Everybody see that?
I got you.
Okay, cool. So this is the second month of the year for those of you who love calendars. So not a lot really that has gone plus or minus on the budget side of things. It's pretty usual operations for the library. On the revenue side of things, our budget, year-to-date budget is about $318,000. We're just under $300,000. The biggest reason for that is the Farmington funds aren't received yet. That we have, they're in the budget, but we haven't received them yet. We have received most of the other tax revenue, so that's why we have about $294,000 there for revenue. So overall, I mean, really, we're just about that $21,000 under budget on the revenue side of things, and most of that is up there in that the tax-based revenue. On the expense side of things, that helps to offset some of that variance on the revenue side. So we're about $8,000 under budget on expenses. Most of that, benefits. We have some timing of payments there, contractual, also timing, professional fees, and New York State library contract, offset a little bit by some things that were over budget for January and February, like books and things like that. But we expect really everything at this point, still expect everything to even out. I don't think nothing is catching us by surprise. So I think right now we would think that the annual budget is still what's going to happen. So overall, operating results through February, positive $248,000 compared to about $261 budgeted. It's off by about $13,000, and almost all of that is a Farmington tax-based revenue. So once we get that, we'll be pretty much exactly on budget. Any questions on this? Food pantry, $600 to the good so far, but there's about a little over $4,000 that's in our, the library's bank accounts. Stacy, how's that going to break that out?
It's great. I mean, I don't have any problems with it. And right now we're in a good place. ABX has been donating food every week. So we're in a good place. I haven't even had to dip into that.
So are you going through the process to break off that as its own 501c3?
Oh, the 501c.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Mhm.
Yes, but I've heard nothing yet, and I
Okay.
understand it can take a really long time, so.
It does. Did you file the articles of incorporation with New York State? Is that where we're at?
No, first is
Oh.
just the very first phase. That paperwork has not, I haven't heard anything. You
Like
have
your
to get
EIN?
that before you go to the next.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of waiting. I have
Were
a
you-
folder of things that I have to do once I hear from the first thing.
Okay, all right.
How about board members? Have you had anybody interested?
Oh, yeah, I'll be okay once if
Yeah.
it ever gets rolling, we should be okay.
Good.
But, it's gonna take time.
Question on the grant that you have for the intern.
Mhm.
Where will, I know we're paying that person a salary.
Mhm.
Will, when we record that, Chris, will that get recorded as part of, salary expenses, or, I mean, how do we show that in our, it's not part of the budget as a grant. How does that show up? Because it is a salary that we're paying the person, so I wasn't sure how that's going to work in our reporting.
Yeah, it would still show up as a salary expense, and you would just have grant income to offset that. So you would have it up above, and that would just be let's say our salaries were spot on. They were exactly on budget, except for what we paid the intern. And so now they were a little over. That would just be a variance, and we'd say we're over budget because we got a grant specific to pay an intern, and so that's offset by grant A, and it's up there. We see that in the revenue side of things.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question, though. I mean, I think that happens a lot, and I think that will go, when we get to the end of the year, let's say our salaries are like exactly on budget. The explanation would be, actually we're under budget for the people that were here at the beginning of the year. And that's offset by the fact that we got a grant to pay an intern. So that's why we're exactly on budget. It's not the same story as we thought it was at the beginning of the year. It's a little bit different, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have to call it out.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Stacy, why don't you tell them about the people you interviewed?
Yeah, I interviewed 2 young women, and one has a focus on someday becoming a primary school teacher. And the other one actually wants to become a librarian, and she's not, what is she, maybe a year away from finishing, I think. And they're both really good candidates for different reasons. And I thought the purpose of the grant is to target women that are in poverty. So oftentimes women in poverty, if there's a good course they want to go to, they might not be able to go if they have kids, and single moms, make up a significant number of women that are in poverty. So I thought maybe I'd split the internship between the 2 of them, possibly. And that way we could make the program so that if you're a single mom, you could still go, because the one could do things with the kids, or we could even have some of the book discussions be things that like a mother-daughter or a mother and a son could both do together. So I don't know. That's not set in stone, but that's what I'm thinking. I have till Wednesday to make up my mind.
Do you think they'd still be interested if it was shorter money and hours?
Well, it occurred to me today when I interviewed the second one, so I kind of ran it by her, like, what if I could offer you the internship, but it would be half the number of hours? Would you still be interested? And she was. And I know the other one has a job, so she might be too, but I don't know that.
And
My
they're
question, my question would be, how would you maintain continuity between the 2 different people through the program?
Well, we could just make sure they have the same hours and that they work together, planning and everything. Because they won't do desk or anything else. They'll just be working on this stuff, the programming stuff.
Mhm.
So if they work the same hours, I think it could work.
Great.
But,
And they're both local,
yep.
close by.
One is, I believe lives in Ontario, and I think the other one lives in Victor. I don't have their
Great.
paper in front of me, but they're local, they're close.
Good,
One
good.
goes to Nazareth, and the other one's doing her library degree through Buffalo. So,
Great, great news.
yeah, I was pleased.
Yeah, I know it was a little slow going there, so it's
Mhm.
exciting that you have two really strong candidates.
I know.
And if they'd be willing to share the love, I don't see the, I don't,
I know, I think it could be a good thing. And I think both of them are in it more for the experience maybe than, I mean, the money doesn't hurt.
yeah,
I think they really want the experience, so.
great.
Most time in jobs, the hardest thing to get is experience.
Yeah, good resume builder.
Yeah.
It's an excellent, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So we'll see.
Well, speaking of that topic and more, I guess if we want to segue into the board report, a lot of really great detail. I was excited to see how many people came through the door and how many new cards we issued. Those were all exciting. I know one of the things that you wanted to talk about, Stacy, was the proposal of changing the hours for the
Yeah.
spring and summer.
Yep. I just thought if we talked about it now, we'd be ready for May. So what are people's thoughts? Do we want to stick to that plan where seasonally, when the weather's nicer, we are open just a little bit less, or have people's thoughts on that changed?
I mean, we have a significant amount of people. Was 20 from 7 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about shaving that, is it 7 to 8, closing at 7?
Yep.
Is that, yeah. And then keeping 10 to 1 on Saturdays.
My concern on the weekend particularly, so you're 10 to 2 now.
Right.
And I know, 3-hour shift versus a 4-hour shift and hours for people. And the other thing is a lot of times, sometimes you have programmings on Saturday too. I mean, I just didn't know if cutting the hour, I don't have an issue with during the week, but cutting the hour on the weekend, seemed like that could be missed. To a lot of people, that's their only time they have to get to the library.
Yeah.
I was just concerned about that.
No, I thought about it too when I was writing it or typing it. It could be we leave it alone on the weekend.
I'd rather not lose the hour on the weekend. I agree with Gary. Because some
Yeah.
people, with their children, commitments going here and there, sometimes that's the only window they have.
Right.
Making it smaller and make it more difficult.
And I realize people are busy at summer and they have lots of things, but you get rainy days or whatever. I mean, the library becomes the respite,
Mhm. Yeah, and I agree with the weekend. A lot of times by the time I get my stuff together after doing my chores and everything on Saturday, it's like, oh man, it's already 2:00 and the library's already closed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess the number between that 6 and 7 hour, was it 6 and 7?
Yeah.
Hold up. It was pretty significant. 6 to 7 was 24.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of thinking maybe we should leave it, but I don't know what other folks' thoughts are. Other
I
than
know you have I know Wednesdays you have the craft people from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
And so, you'd be cutting them down to an hour, and I don't know how many people have been coming, but and I don't know if there's other nights you have like a regular group activity.
I think they're it. I think they're it.
I mean, the other option, I'll just throw it out there, would be if you did cut back the hours, maybe you do one night later in the week. I realize it makes it more challenging in terms of people remembering, but you know, a lot of businesses will do one night where they're open longer than others, right? Just to kind of accommodate that. I mean, that would be something to throw out there as a possibility.
Good point. Do you have a gauge on what the staff feels? Do they have,
Some of the staff, even though, I mean, I see by the people counter, people come in, but some staff express that it's so slow. One in particular, but that person is on Tuesday, so it could just be that evening is maybe slower than the others. We don't have a program that day, so. I don't know. I'm okay with leaving it alone or doing a hybrid.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would be in favor of leaving it and continuing the consistency, because we did have the fluctuation for so long. I think it would be nice to keep it the same for a little bit, but so if let's take a vote then for, if somebody could make a motion for those in favor of changing the hours for the May through October from 10 to
There's just
7.
one thing to keep in mind, that when I budgeted for pay, I budgeted on the idea that we were gonna have so just to keep in mind, if we go a little over in payroll, it could be the interns and the hours.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so can I get someone to make a motion to for those in favor to be willing to change the hours?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. And then I'll second. And then all in favor to change the hours, shortening them.
Oh, we are gonna shorten them?
No,
Gosh.
I'm getting a gauge on that versus if we want to remain the same.
Got it.
Okay. And then if I could get somebody to make a motion to leave the hours the same.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
And then all in favor. I'd like to keep them the same. Okay. All right. So we will go ahead and keep the hours the same, understanding the budget adjustment that will come into play. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You know, and if you got somebody that's not crazy about it, right? Maybe you offer them and somehow you figure out a way they can modify their schedule. You know, I mean, we don't want to keep somebody unhappy, right? So, and I realize, you know, if that's the only day they're working or whatever, it makes it hard.
Yeah, it is.
But maybe with the interns coming in, I don't know what kind of hours they're going to do, but you know, I know you want to have, I think you got to have 2 people there, and that's part of the challenge, right? So, but I don't know. I just don't want to have somebody unhappy. That's all.
Yeah.
What did you do last summer? Did you shorten the hours or not?
Yeah, we were short last summer, but last summer was,
We had
Yeah,
COVID.
COVID is a different scenario.
That
Yeah.
destroyed everything.
yeah. I mean, we were just kind of starting to get normal a little bit. Hopefully this summer can be normal.
Yeah. And then with this summer, I don't know if you talked to the folks at Reds, with the campers,
Oh, right.
letting them know about, the library is so close and programs and, getting
When are
books.
you
and-
allowed to go in there? Because to,
The
into
15th. April 15th, they open up.
oh, okay. Because they have it pretty clear, like if you're not a camper, like you're not supposed to go in. So I always think about it, but I'm like, I don't know if it's
Yeah. No, Barb and Red, when I spoke to Barb, well, I guess it was 2 years ago now. She was open to working with you, so I'm sure she still would be.
I gotta believe that they probably got some sort of bulletin board or something that maybe they have somewheres that you could post something. I haven't been in there, and only once I was in there, and it was early on before they even had the pool done. So
Yeah, they have something right in the main office there. Okay. Anything else with the board report?
I don't think so.
well, there's something else in there I wanted to talk about. I had it, now it's gone.
The grab and go
Yeah, the grab and go.
comment.
So you had some comments, right? And
Yeah.
it seemed like it was pretty positive. Has anybody, the only negative that I could think of was that something, if you're not going in to actually check it out, right? Your items are checked out prior to your actually obtaining them,
Right.
which could be losing a day if you don't get there that day, or 2 days or whatever on your time of having them in your possession, right?
It's true.
So that was the only negative that I could think of. Obviously, our people count is actually lower because people who are putting things on hold, I'm doing it all the time, my wife and I go to the shed and leave. I don't even go in, right, sometimes. So
We should have a way to
So-
count that.
yeah, there's no, so we're light on our people counter because of it, right?
Right.
So I personally like it, and it sounds like there's several people that like the convenience of it. The challenge is, we're not getting those counts, and then 2, you have a few people that aren't happy about it. Has anyone complained about the fact that their books are checked out longer, or before they actually have them in their possession? They lose. It probably really more applies if it's a popular book that you only can have for 3 weeks because you got to get it back because there's a waiting list kind of thing.
Right. Occasionally that does come up. So, and we could always change back to how it was. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people really do like it, but I mean, I'm flexible on it. It was kind of an experiment to see, what people thought and if it made life easier for people. As far as the people counter goes, I mean, yeah, we don't get the foot traffic number, but we get the circ number. So I feel like, I mean, there's still a count happening. It's just a different statistic.
Would there, and this is more complicated, but would you make it like, could you make it a standard that it's grab and go and you check it out for somebody into the shed? But if somebody did have a problem with it and wanted to come in, that you could request to have your hold kept inside and not checked out till you showed up on request.
I had a book ordered on hold, and it surprised me that it was put in the grab and go until I got the email about it. I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was going to go there.
I don't know. I suppose we could do that by request.
I mean, you might not get anybody that opts it, but if somebody complained, like this one lady that didn't like it, you could give her the option to say, you expressed that you weren't, thrilled about it. And, or if somebody comes in and doesn't realize, and, they go to the shelf and they don't see their stuff, and you explain the situation and say, well, and I'm sure that happens. Somebody comes in and looking for their holds and they're out in the shed, right?
Yeah.
And you could say to them, if you'd prefer that not to have them checked out until you showed up, you have the option to keep them in as opposed to automatically going in a shed, but our policy is, our standard policy is they get checked out and put in the shed for you.
I feel like it's not a bad idea. I just worry about the extra work for staff and
I get it. And
I do feel like if a person was exceptional, they would have to make the staff aware every time, because there's not really a good way
to flag them.
Not a great way to flag them. I'd have to look into the system to see if there would be a good way, like if it could pop up on the receipt that prints when you scan the item, then it wouldn't be too bad. But if it can't pop up on the receipt, then it could be cumbersome. I have to look into that.
I mean, you're talking, you know, probably 95% of the people plus are fine with it the way it is. It's that 5%. And if there's an easy way to accommodate them and still keep people happy, then, you know, that would be an option. Otherwise, don't worry about it, I guess.
Right.
I don't think we should go back, personally. That's my opinion.
One good thing, in a way, it is a motivator to get to the library to get your hold, because some people previous to the pandemic sometimes would let their hold sit and have to get a couple of phone calls and everything. This, if your clock starts ticking, once you realize that, it's kind of like a motivator. Oh, I got to get my book, or I'm not gonna have much time with it. So there is that, but I don't want to have people angry either, and that's not why I did it, to motivate people to get their holds. I did it because I thought, hey, wouldn't it just be easier for people? It's all ready. And if you want to come in, you can still come in, but
Well, and it was also a COVID thing too. It was helpful to people that didn't really want to have to interact. And now COVID numbers are back on the rise again. So yeah, that's why one of the reasons I don't think we should change it, but it's just, can we accommodate others? I'd say look into it, and you can report back to us or whatever if there's a way to do it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. I think we should leave it.
Well, I'm going to see if there's a way to have the stuff flag on the receipt after it's scanned. Then I would start doing it tomorrow, and we could start letting people. I would put a sign on the shed. Prefer to have your holds inside? Just let us know or something.
Okay, yeah. I'd say go. You have the jurisdiction to make the call.
Yeah. Well, as long as we can make it so it's not gonna make my staff like crazy, because they have been crazy since the pandemic started. There's been so many changes, and we're doing it this way, and now we're doing it that way, and clean this, don't clean that, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. It's been and they've been really good about it. So
would it be possible to send an email to people who do have a hold that comes in saying, you have 3 days to pick it up in the library, then it will be placed in the grab and go shed?
We don't have any control over what the email says. That is just generated by the system. Okay. And so it has to be generic, because it's the same sort of email that goes to all 42 libraries, and we don't all have the same procedures. So I would love to do that, but the answer is no, I can't.
I do like the option. I think it's good, and it is new. So, over time people might get used to it. And those that don't necessarily like it at first might get there. But yeah, I agree. If we have an opportunity to leverage, something in the system to make them happier, we should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
We did get an assistive technology grant, and I don't know if you get my emails, but we have C-pens now.
Oh yeah.
And what they do, so let's say you're dyslexic, or you don't see well, or maybe you're a student who has dysgraphia, which means your handwriting is just so terrible you can't read your own notes when you go back to them. This pen will do a variety of things. You can just go over the text just like you would with a highlighter, and you stop at the end of the line, and it reads the line to you.
That's amazing.
I mean, it really is. And it's so easy, like plug and play right out of the box. It was so easy, super duper easy. Also, if you're the person with poor handwriting, you could be like scanning over sections of text as you read that you want to remember for studying later. And it'll save in the device, and then you would just upload it to your computer, and whammo bammo, you have notes you can read.
That's so cool.
Also, if you are reading Anna Karenina, I can never say it properly, but you know, a big Russian novel with a lot of really big words, and you want to make sure you don't just skip over them. You want to know what each word, big word means. It's a dictionary too. So it's got a lot of functions.
Does it have like a headset?
No, but you can, oh yes, it did. It came with little earbuds. We're gonna have to offer a alcohol wipe with it. But I mean, you can hear it really. I mean, maybe not if you were in a noisy place, but you can hear it well without the headphones.
How do you know? I mean, if you can't see well, how do you know whether you're on the right line or holding your pen straight across or not going? I mean, that's the.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be for somebody who is maybe legally blind, but
Okay.
let's say you're in the beginning stages of macular degeneration or something. So you still can see well enough to tell where the line is, but the words are too fuzzy. It's just really a strain to try to read them. This would work out well for that.
And how are you thinking of offering it? Is it sign it out for a period of time, or
Just like a book? We're going to check it out, and you get 3 weeks with 2 renewals. The only thing we're not allowing is it's not going to go system wide. You have to be one of our people, like you have to come in person to borrow it. So if you lived in, I don't know, Avon, we'll say, and you really wanted it and you made the effort to drive to the library, we would check it out to you. But most likely we're not going to get a lot of cases of that. It'll probably be our own Macedon and Palmyra and Farmington. And well,
so let's say somebody tries it and decides, you know, I really want to have this permanently so I can take more books out of the library. Will you have some information that they could potentially go purchase one?
I could. That's a good idea. So you're saying I should have a pamphlet?
Well, I'm just thinking, you know,
I mean, I would
the type of people you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I get done if I really fall in love with this thing in 3 weeks ends. I mean, I want to, you know, and this is really helping me with my love of reading. I want one permanently, right?
Sure. Maybe I'll just make a handout that goes inside each of the 4 kits.
Oh, there you go.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
Why? It's yours.
Definitely. What does it cost, Tracy or Stacy?
250 each.
I mean, that's not that bad, really.
75 each.
No,
It was
it's not.
that.
275.
It was
Yeah.
275. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We don't have
Yeah.
the grant yet, correct?
Yes,
No.
we got it.
Yeah.
We've got
Okay,
the,
'cause
the
I'm reading
pens
your
are
report from a
all
month
ready.
ago.
Yep. The pens are already bundled up and ready to go. Except
Yeah,
that
I missed that in the board report, but I saw it in your email that came out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this cool pen. I told my sister about it because she's an aide for kids with special needs in the Palmac school system, and I was like, you
Yep.
gotta check out this sweet pen.
yeah, that's part of the reason I got it, is for the people in school. I lost my train of thought. Well, anyway, I think it'll be a good thing for people, and I hope they make use of it, because
Yeah, if you find after you do some sort of announcement, you know, on the site or in an email or whatever, to let people know that it's there and it takes off, you know, then we may have another discussion or problem that we have to deal with, but let's see how it goes.
well, if it really takes off and we need more, I mean, movies haven't been, I mean, that's where I sometimes have a little bit of leeway with extra money.
Right. No, I just don't.
It's kind of a media thing. So, I mean, if we needed to buy an extra one, I say, you know, leave behind crummy movies that don't get good ratings. Get a C-pen that actually helps people. You know, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Oh,
keep
and the reason why I just found out I got the grant, and as soon as I found out, I ordered it and it came super fast. So my board report was done before all this stuff happened really quickly.
You already have the pens then.
They're all ready to go.
Okay.
You can borrow one tomorrow.
they sound super cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And what about the computers?
The computers should be coming. We'll probably have them end of April, maybe early May. It takes a while for them to come in right now. They don't come
Yeah.
fast.
What
I
were we
mean,
gonna,
we're hoping by May that we have them. I'm really hoping because mine really needs to be. It's
how many
full.
were we gonna get, Stacy? 3?
3.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I need to tell you that, so we were chosen to receive a digital privacy booth, which will make it possible for people to do telehealth sessions, or maybe you want to participate with Western legal services, like you don't have enough money to have your own lawyer and there's free legal services. You could do telelaw, I guess you would call it. So we got chosen for this pilot project and we're getting one totally free.
Can you describe it for us?
It's like, think of like an office cubby that's soundproof and has glass doors on the front of it.
It's freestanding.
It's freestanding. It's like a booth, sort of.
Okay,
Bigger than a
Okay.
booth. The booth, you think telephone booth. It's not a telephone booth. It's like a little room. So if you know where we have our public computers, which you all do, to the left of the door that you can go through to get into the community room, in that space, we have a bank of computers. Well, that's all got to come out, and that's where the digital booth will go. So we can relocate one of the computers, and then I don't think they're giving us a computer with it. So one of the computers will go in the booth. But here's the thing I have to run by you. I didn't even realize this, but our computer banks, or whatever you want to call them, are totally hardwired into the wall with like a data cable.
Ooh.
So
Really?
I can't just move the computers and the desk out of there. Like we have to have an electrician take that, disconnect the data cable, and then probably just put like an outlet in with 4, what do you call them? Outlets, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
is there a reason you chose that location for the booth?
Yeah, there's nowhere else in our library that possibly go.
When you first started
And-
saying that it was a booth, I was like, where should I ever put that?
And that's where our network drops are.
What's the dimensions of it, you know?
It's big. It's a decent size. Like,
Because there's like 4 computers or something on that wall, right?
yeah, well, no, it wasn't 4. The self-checkout computer is 1, and that's gonna go where we charge up our laptops that get borrowed. We'll move them somewhere else. That's no big deal. And then there are just 2 computers. No, we just lost a computer because it was ancient. So there are 2 computers. One will go in a study, Carol, or it can be a children's computer. I have to decide. And the other one should go in the booth. Or we could put both of them in the booth. We'll see when it comes.
What's on the wall between the hallway to the bathrooms and the door to the community room?
It wouldn't fit.
It wouldn't fit.
Mm-mm. It's like an office-sized cubby.
Okay, so it's almost like, I mean, I'm surprised you got the room there in that corner.
I do. I measured.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I just am
It's gonna
surprised.
go right from the edge of the door jamb to like there's a pole.
No. Mm-hmm.
So is there any reason that, I mean, we're not doing anything construction wise that's gonna affect the building itself, right? There's nothing, we're wondering, you know, just from a town perspective, is there something that, I mean, obviously the data cables becomes potentially a challenge that with some electric change in the walls, but I'm just thinking there's nothing that's required. It's freestanding. There's no, do they have to screw it into the wall to hold it in place, or?
Well, I mean, they have to put a plug in. What do you
A
call it?
drop. Yeah, like
Not
a
the
drop.
There's drops over there. It's just an electrical outlet,
Yeah,
not one that'll take 4
like
plugs.
change the box from a 2 to a 4 or whatever.
Gotta have a gang
Right
box.
now, it's just like a hole in the wall with this big, fat, black cable, data
Yeah.
cable.
What
Yeah,
about
so I,
Once that comes out, I mean, I could go to Lowe's and have the plate ready. They don't cost much. And he would just wire it, because the wires should already be there from the data cable, right? So he just wires. I'm not an electrician.
What
but
about
my
having Nick do it?
What?
What about having Nick do it?
I don't think Nick is an electrician.
I can ask, I have a couple friends who I might be able to ask come take a look at it.
Okay.
Does the company install it?
No.
Who builds it, I guess, in place?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But we still should say something to
Work
Bruce.
Work specs, I think is what they're called. I didn't order it. I just, Rochester Regional Library, they are the ones that ordered this particular model. So.
But as part of the grant, they're going to install it. So you just have to.
Yeah.
You just have to have the electric, whatever the requirements are to connect it up, ready.
Right. So that computer area needs to be cleared for it.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen till May, but I need to think about this stuff now so it's ready for May. And I did call some electricians to come in and give me quotes, just so, if anybody knows how to get a hold of Mr. Bastian, he's usually who the town uses, but I don't seem to have any luck getting a hold of him. Ron Bastian, he's an electrician.
I can call Bruce just to give him a heads up and see if he can get a hold of him or have
Scott.
yeah, thank you. I had his last name there, but I didn't have his first name. What can get a hold of him? So
Right now I have Land Tech that will come next week. I have Rogers Electrical, and I was hoping Mr. Bastian would come. Land Tech did our network drops for the people counters. They're good.
okay.
I think the town might also use them sometimes.
And so you have a plan for all of your computer moves.
I do.
Okay. Sounds exciting. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how you market, and since this is a grant program and or it's not a grant, it's a trial of some sort, right? That you were selected for. I hope they provide you with some assistance in how do you let people know and what kinds of things to market it for, to help people understand, that it's all about privacy is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's about digital access, and it's about health access big time, because sometimes, people don't necessarily have transportation to get into the city, and they may need certain medical services that aren't in Wayne County.
Yeah.
So it makes it a big one. So I've been advocating for this for a long time, like with anybody who would listen. And for me, it's like mental health. There's not a lot of mental health care providers in the county. And so to be able to have a mental health session in this privacy booth, that would be huge for many people. So,
yeah, I know the organization Rochester Regional, we do a lot with video visits. I mean, the majority of visits are transitioning to video visits. And they're switching over the platforms and everything actually in April. So yeah, it's a big push right now with the health organization, but the legal aspect is pretty cool too, that you have that ability as well.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. There could be somebody that wants to interview for a job, And, they might use the booth for that.
Sure.
There could be a recruiter even in Wayne County that's looking for people to come here. And, video interviews are also, the pandemic has really done a lot to change how we do things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
It seems like as these things pop up in different places, there's almost like should be some knowledge of a network of places people can go
Mhm.
to get access to this type of support or tool.
Right.
Service.
Yeah. Superman booth.
I like it.
Also, another thing that happened, this was funny. I got asked to answer some questions in video format for the Mother Cabrini Foundation. And so I did it, and they really loved my answers. So they're based out of New York City, and they have a marketing department, and they have a consultant working on this thing. And so they're gonna take my answers and they're gonna get 2 movies out of it. And I don't know much more than that. I'm dying to see what they're doing with what I said. But
That's awesome.
so then later on, I will be invited to apply for a grant. So maybe, I think it'll be in the fall. So maybe, because one of their main focuses is health related issues for people, we have this booth coming. So if we have other needs associated, there could be a place to look if we need more funds for something.
Beautiful.
I know,
You don't know till you get
Yeah.
into it.
I'm at the
What's the name of
Golisano
the
Institute.
organization?
I'm sorry.
What was the name of the organization?
The Mother Cabrini Foundation.
I work part-time at the Golisano Institute for Developmental Disability Nursing, and we have a grant from the Mother Cabrini Foundation. They're a great organization, and one of the things that I know that that they have an interest in is related to health in rural areas.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like none. Yeah, that's
One of the things I focused on based on the questions that they gave me was I talked a lot about how reading is a very definite marker of future success in life and health. It is definitely correlated. And I talked about the 1.4 million word cap that exists, like if a child is read to versus not read to before kindergarten. So yeah, it was a great opportunity.
very cool.
Can't wait to see what they did though.
I know. Yeah, I'm curious.
So how long will we have the booth, Stacy?
Forever.
Oh, okay.
It's a forever thing until we disassemble it.
Cool.
Yeah. Great. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of good stuff, Joan, you want to tell us what the friends are up to?
Okay, you bet. I just received an update from Faye Jefferson today about our speaker and concert series. And she has 5 groups set up to perform from Saturday, April 16th through June 25th. Plus we have a virtual lecture by Jack Kowiak, who has been quite popular with people at the library. And this is entitled, "Why Do People Do Very Bad Things?" And he is a meticulous researcher, so I'm looking forward to this. But I want to be sure to invite you to our first activity, which is Saturday, April 16th, 1 o'clock in the community room. It is I always pronounce this Cross Molina, but they pronounce it Cross Molina. They are an Irish music quartet, and we've seen them at least 3 times during the course of the pandemic. So please come and see them in the community room, at least as of this moment. That's what's happening. And our book sale is coming along May 12th through 14th. I have the boys baseball team coming to help us with the takedown of the sale, but they can't help with the setup because they have a double header that day. So now looking for other groups or teams to help us with the bringing of books from storage and putting them into the library. So that's where we're standing with that. We also have, of course, the last day of the book sale, the barbecue truck will be there, the Black Heart. So a lot of things are going on, and I'm sure next month, I think Marilee will be talking to you next month, and I'm sure she'll be sure to mention that.
Right.
That's it. I think we don't have anything going on right now, except people are dropping books and I'm sorting and storing and taking to storage. Any
Great.
question?
Are you getting a lot of books?
Compared to the way it was last year after people not being able to donate, no, but we're about up to our normal quota at this time. We've made 7 trips to storage with 10 boxes. So we have 70 boxes of books, plus all the boxes that are in the back of the workroom where I do my everyday sorting. So we're just about regular, I think.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, that's it, I think, unless somebody has a question.
Do you want more books?
Well,
Yes,
I
but not the
myself-
day before the sale.
yeah, right. We do, but not in fact, I'm looking at trying to set a cutoff date right now for a few days before the sale starts, so that I can have a little breather before the setup starts. So, but yes, we can always use more books.
Great. Okay.
Okay,
I know it
that's
was hard for a while there, finding a place to take your books. I definitely had a supply at one point.
Everybody did. That's why I did it last year I had certain days when you could donate because I knew I was going to be slammed. And I would have, couldn't handle all of them at one time. And there were a couple of us doing so that we could get them. And we had like 250 boxes as compared to our 70 boxes we have now. So that tells you how people were storing up their books.
Yep, for sure. Great. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other topics? I'll open it up. Anything anybody wants to chat about, talk about, concerns, questions?
I just want to say that I started working on that policy template for an employee handbook that Ron,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, that's going to take a while. So, but it's really good, but it's going to take me a while to get through all of it. Yeah, but it's going to be really nice when it's all done. And when it's ready, you'll see it. I just thought I'd update you on that.
There's nothing quick about policy handbook. Like it's just a daunting task.
Yeah.
But like you said, at least you have the template and it'll go.
Yeah, and it means we're probably going to need to update things that are in our regular policy book, but it's all good. And at the end, someday it'll be all good.
All right. Okay. Well, if that is it, if I could get a motion to adjourn for this month.
I'll make that motion.
All right. And Debbie seconds, all in favor? Aye. All right, guys. Stay well. And we
Bye,
will
everyone.
see you in
Thanks for
April.
doing the paperwork, everybody, by the way. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I squeaked it in.
See ya.
Take care.